welcome to our Thursday night movie review, and tonight we're going to be talking about Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. So, who wants to give us a synopsis? Oh wait, it's me, that's why. Because Lonnie doesn't get to. Because we'll be here forever.
And I'd be telling a bunch of spoilers that
She would spoil the entire movie for you.
Pretty much.
Okay, movie starts. The Black Panther is dying. King T'Challa is almost dead. And he dies. Hooray! I'm glad they did that. We'll talk about why later. So he dies. And his sister Shuri is upset because she couldn't make the heart shape every time, which they hadn't let Killmonger burn it down the last one, they would have been fine. But they're going, and Wakanda gets attacked by French people. Can't trust the French. And they go forward, and they go to the U.S. to try and find someone that has technology to find vibranium. Because apparently they find vibranium in the ocean. And they find Riri Williams, who is Ironheart, if you ever watched comic books or anything. And
You mean read the comic books?
you don't read comic books, you watch them.
Okay, whatever
You
you
just
say.
read them for the pictures.
Okay.
And so they go, and they find vibranium in the ocean, like I said. And it turns out the vibranium is actually from some former Spaniards that are underground. Well, they're underground, and then they go into the water. But they think that they're Mayans. They're not really Mayans. They're actually Mayan processing. And it turns out that's where Namor is. And so they declare war on Wakanda, try and get rid of them so they can take control of the vibranium finding machine, basically. And by the end of the movie, they have a new Black Panther, and they take out the bad guys. But the bad guys actually join with them to become good guys. Kind of, sort of. And I'll tell you more than that, I'll spoil the movie. So,
Yeah.
that's the way it goes. So, starting with everything else. Lump, what's your favorite scene in the movie?
My favorite part would be the car chase, when they're trying to get Riri Williams to cooperate.
It's more the trying to get her away from the police and the FBI.
Yeah.
She has a nice car, though.
She does. It's a very nice car.
Okay, Lenny, what do you think?
The first time it shows the person, I don't remember his name.
More?
Yeah.
Other dude?
The American.
Everett Ross.
Bilbo.
Bilbo Baggins.
Bilbo
you know-
Baggy Pants.
He's tall.
Pretty much anytime it shows
Sure.
him is when I was PS4.
Except that you find out that he was married to Julia Louis-Dreyfus previously. She's messed up in this. So.
She's very messed up in this.
Okay, Bella, what are your thoughts?
Probably when you knew Black Panther is on the ancestral plane.
Okay,
I will not say any more than that because it was
because I'll just spoil it. Okay, so I would say the best part of the movie is when it ends filming. But when Namor gets beat down, that's pretty funny.
That is,
Because he's pretty arrogant the entire movie.
oh, extreme.
And it's not the way it works in the comic books, but in the movie, he is Namor because he apply an end to negate something, and he's Namor, so it's not the heart. Get you right here. Or not. He's really kind of pathetic.
Very.
I mean, he's a violent little kid that you see in the movie, so don't feel bad for him.
Mm-mm.
So what problems do you see with the movie? Lenny?
He wasn't really able to let go of the fact that his brother was dead.
Okay, that's pretty normal. Okay, just died.
Unexpectedly.
Okay, that'll work for now. Bella, what do you think?
I thought you were going to get along fast.
No, I'm not. With you. Okay, Lumpo, we're waiting for Bella.
I actually can't think of anything specifically wrong with the movie. It was long
What's wrong with these kids?
and possibly kind of inconclusive, but it's a Marvel movie. It's leading into the next one. It's just how they work. So.
It is definitely a long movie. It's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Things
Um,
they think that we're supposed to be like God, which
okay, yes, obviously that's bad.
and their whole thing with Wakandans, like, religion kind of thing.
Yeah, the worship of the ancestors, of course.
Okay, Bella.
Uh,
I'll talk about those in more depth.
Language.
Okay, what language? Are they speaking Zoza or what?
bad language.
What, Mayan?
No!
Spanish? What?
Bad words.
Which ones?
It wasn't English. I don't know
Oh,
what
the
to say.
English words.
I do want to
Oh,
know
Oh,
no,
they
those are-
say them in Mayan too.
I don't think they actually speak Mayan because no one
Mayan.
speaks Mayan or Mayan really. Mayan is a dead language, so.
like Latin.
That's why you do this.
Yeah, but Latin we mostly know the pronunciation. Greek is not dead.
Greek is definitely
Mayan
not
is
it.
very dead.
The
Yes,
one-
there are people that speak Mayan, but the Mayan they speak is actually a combination between Spanish and Portuguese. So, not really. Okay, so the issue that Lenny brought up is ancestor worship. And ancestor worship is normal for basically every area of Africa, which is where Wakanda is.
Yeah.
So it's there, it's also in China. And to be perfectly honest, most places on the planet used to have ancestor worship. It's mostly since the church has expanded that's gone away. So obviously there are issues there because your ancestors are dead. They're
And
not
have
coming
been.
back. The Bible clearly says when Saul goes to talk to the witch of Endor, that is wrong for him to call back Samuel to talk to him. And it talks about in Deuteronomy that is wrong to try and contact dead people. So there's lots of evidence there that that's not a good thing. So that's a clear mark against Black Panther, but it's rather comical when it happens.
And
So,
it's very accurate to what actually, occurs in real life.
yeah, they're dead. So you have that one. Then obviously there is language because it's a Marvel movie.
Yep.
But there's less language in Black Panther than there is in Ant-Man. So
Yep.
be warned there. So the big issue that I'm sure everyone's talking about is going to be the elephant in the room here. And that is the wokeness of this movie. So this movie is not nearly as bad as the people warned it would be beforehand. There are, I think, 3 references by people calling them colonizers. That's nice. Every country on the planet has been a colonizer at some point, so
Plus,
that's really stupid.
the colonizer is the Wakandans' affectionate nickname for Everett Ross.
Yeah. For pretty much every American, that's what they say.
No, it's mainly just for Ross.
That's Shuri specifically.
And Okoye.
So the issue there is that we're not colonizers. We last colonized something like 120 or 30 years ago when we took the Azores, Philippines, and Puerto Rico. But big deal, get over it. The rest of the world was colonized by people colonizing things, so we wouldn't be here if they weren't colonizers from Europe. People wouldn't be in Europe if they weren't colonized from Asia. We wouldn't have been in Asia if they hadn't colonized from Africa. That's the way it works.
Yep.
So that's not really an issue there.
Wouldn't
You do.
they still be colonizers if they had the colonies that were started on the moon?
If we colonize the moon, then yes.
Yes.
But no one cares if we colonize the moon because there's no one there.
Yes.
So we know.
Unless we left them there. There could be Transformers there. Talk about that later.
On the dark side of the moon.
Exactly. Or if the moon itself could be a robot. We don't know about that one.
That's true.
But further issues with it. If you're going with wokeness, there is one set of the Dora Milaje who very obviously are lesbians in the movie. They don't do anything else than say my love to each other, and I think one rubs the other one's back. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I could
Right.
be wrong.
Yeah.
Because the end scene has a small boy being taken somewhere where they acknowledge who he is. We're not talking about that because it's a spoiler.
Big spoiler.
That's not the end scene. The end scene is in the credits.
Exactly.
And not recall the other ones. It may be there. But I don't think so. It's not nearly as bad as lots of other movies that are very, very blatant. Like The Eternals was extremely blatant.
Very.
And that's a big no.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fan of The Eternals. We'll
Plus-
review it later.
Eternals was just boring.
It was really long and rather boring.
the theory for the Eternals is actually quite interesting. This movie was not done.
Okay, back to Black
The
Panther.
movie was really long and boring. Leave
Yeah,
it at that.
Black Panther.
So there are issues with this movie. Don't get me wrong. But it's probably not even as bad as Love and Thunder was. So, take that as you will. If you really like Love and Thunder, then you'll probably be bored by this movie because it was kind of boring for the most part.
Yeah.
But if you were willing to overlook what's in Love and Thunder or acknowledge where they're at, then you'll probably be able to make it through this one without too much issue. But just be aware that there are issues and small children will be affected by them particularly. So, with that, what is the rating on this movie?
PG-13.
PG-13. You agree with that, Lenny?
I would say more like 10-ish.
You from Nevada?
Nevada.
I'm not from Nevada.
Okay. Why would you say 10-ish?
As long as they understand that it's fake, then they would probably be able to handle it when they're 10.
Interesting. Okay.
Again, comes down to parental guidance.
Okay, so Leia, what do you think?
I would say 13 is a pretty solid baseline. However, some kids, of course, will be able to handle it earlier, and some kids maybe a bit later. So, yeah.
Okay.
Comes back to parental guidance.
Okay, so why do you keep saying parental guidance? There's no emotional damage here.
I can't say emotional damage.
Good. You should. So why do you agree? Yeah, you.
I'm saying that's what the movie was rated.
Yeah, but why does it say parental guidance?
Because there's person, violence, which it's a superhero movie. It's gonna have violence. You shouldn't expect
Maybe.
violence,
Okay, there are no raccoons in this.
unfortunately.
Okay, but what is your rating for? Because you said you agreed. Tell me about it.
What did I agree?
What age would you say 13 is a good age?
Maybe? I don't know. I think 13 is fine. Just depends on the kid. If the kid's mature enough to handle the movie, then watch the movie. But that's up to the parent.
Okay, so apparently my children don't understand how to rate movies at this point.
I'm sorry.
I would definitely disagree with Lenny. Not 10. No way for 10. I think 13 is very, very iffy. This movie is much more visceral and visual also in how the violence is done.
Sure.
There's one point where a person pulls himself over a spear through their stomach as it shows blood dripping out the back. That's very visual, and that's definitely not okay for a 10-year-old.
Mm-mm.
Because
I
they're
forgot
going to
about
spaz out.
that.
Didn't that happen twice, actually?
It happens more than once, yes. And worse than that, there are lots of people who get killed in various ways, thrown off ships into the water. They're attacked by whales. They're attacked by killer whales. They're attacked by all sorts of sea creatures.
And, you know, the Spaniard Mayan.
And then there's a scene near the beginning of the movie where a small child goes and massacres a village. And he's not nice about it. But explanation of that would be a spoiler, so I won't do it. But be aware there is a lot of violence in this movie, interspersed with a whole lot of boring.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talking. Probably 3/4 or more of the movie is just talking without anything interesting happening. But when something happens, there's a lot of action and a lot of mayhem without the raccoon.
Unfortunately.
Although there's no insurance either. But that being said, the violence is much more visual in this one than in previous movies from Marvel. Now, it's not to say it's going to be the level of Deadpool, because it's not. Now, the next Deadpool, maybe it'll be down to this level. We'll find out. The next one's supposed to be PG-13. We'll find out. I wouldn't bet on it.
They managed to get PG-13 Deadpool.
Yes. So obviously we already talked about spiritual elements in this movie. There are some that are there. They're generally all bad. There isn't really much going forward that's good, except that at the beginning of the movie, Shuri is making a clear reference to God and asking for him to interfere and keep her brother alive. So that's good. But you have to tie that in with the fact that they also have ancestor worship and they're trying to talk to dead people.
Well, and their cat goddess.
Fast.
Fast, yeah, thank you. And it was a BA.
And then the one that did Jabbar.
That's,
He's a monkey. I like monkeys.
he's got a tail. So he's a monkey. Sarah Green is dead.
Melanated. So, as far as that goes, there is another big thing to talk about that is actually a positive thing in this movie, though, is the fact that King T'Challa is dead. So, if you're aware, circumstances according to this movie, they were starting to film the movie, and then Chadwick Boseman died of cancer. And so they made the wise decision, and instead of trying to have him digitally recreated or have a cameo or anything else, they just flat out killed him at the beginning of the movie. It was a very, very smart choice. It's the only way I see that they could have possibly have given respect to him and to the character properly. Because if you make a digital recreation of someone, it's just not nice to them. They're dead. You're basically banking on the fact that they were there, they aren't anymore. So, I mean, in Ghostbusters 3, it makes some sense because he's dead.
Yeah.
When the original Ghostbuster shows up, that's dead. But it's Ghostbusters also, so that's a bit different.
It's not quite the same thing.
Yeah. So with that being said, there is another person who's dead that shows up in this movie, but the actor is not dead. The character is dead. So that's fine. But the big issue there, obviously, is that they resolved it nicely with having King T'Challa go away. Because he is the Black Panther, so there's a very big question of, will there be another movie? But they'd already promised that Black Panther would return, so, and resolve that somehow. So what other comments do you three have about the movie?
Everett Ross's ex-wife is kind of a psycho throughout the entire movie.
Yes, if you don't know who she plays, she is introduced in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And she is generically introduced as a government-related individual, and she goes and recruits U.S. agent who's supposed to be Captain America and failed miserably.
He created a very poor image of himself.
But a perfect one for an assassin, so it works out.
Yeah.
What else about this movie?
I like that they brought Iron Heart in.
Okay. So her first suit really kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But then the Wakandans made her a decent suit.
It wasn't bad for what she had at the time. To be fair, she's not a billionaire.
Yeah, she didn't have a full encapsulated suit. She more had an exo frame that she was running, so that doesn't work well when you fly up in the atmosphere, which she finds out.
Yeah, it's kind of like Tony Stark's first one when he built, when he was, captured. Except a lot less effective.
And slightly more refined.
It actually flew properly.
And then crashed properly.
Quite well.
Okay, so what would you give for your rating for this movie out of 5? Start long.
3.5 or
Okay, why's that?
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. Like, wasn't bad, but it didn't excel any expectations. Yeah, excel is the word.
Excelsior to any expectations. What do you think, Lenny?
4 stars.
Okay, 4 stars. What about 4 stars?
They did stuff fairly well for everything that they had to figure out how to do.
Okay. I guess that works. Bella, what do you think?
I would say 4 because they resolved the issue of Chadwick Boseman dying and what to do with the character very well. And it was at least somewhat interesting. Once you got past all the boring parts, than just talking, anything.
Okay, so I would firmly rate it a 2-star movie until you get to the end scene. and that bumps up to a 3. But only because of the end scene, because that's going to make most people cry. So I'm not going to tell you what it is.
It's so sad and so sweet. But so sad.
Because the movie just was really boring. To be perfectly honest. I mean, I was sitting there going, okay, when's something going to happen? When's something going to happen? And I just kept waiting. And waiting. And it was like,
something happened.
how many hours were we watching this movie?
So
I think it's more that
probably
how many-
treated as like a 2-star movie.
I still think it'd be, how many days have we been watching this? Not hours.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really long movie. And was just boring for about 3/4 of it. And almost nothing happened. Yeah, the first part happens, like first 10 minutes, and then slow. Something happens,
Slow.
and then like 10 minutes of talking. And then there's a big action scene that takes like 45 minutes. So
Which
that was
is
good.
highly entertaining.
But it's just getting there. They wasted way more time than they should have talking. It's a superhero movie. It's not a drama. Stop being dramatic and just get to the action.
Get something done.
That's what people want a superhero movie. They don't want happy feelings. They don't want anything else. They want explosions. And they want people punching each other.
Flying through walls.
That too.
Shooting each other with laser eyes.
Because
Great
it's
shield.
a superhero movie. Get the superheroing.
Exactly.
Okay, anything final to say? Didn't think so. So go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. Why hit the notification bell too. And join us by Saturday when we hopefully get our weekly update done. So with that, thanks for watching and have a good night.